You know that moment when you're finally alone and the very first thing you do is reach for your phone? Maybe you're standing in line at the grocery store, or you're waiting for a friend at the restaurant, or even just waking up in the morning. That little device becomes a security blanket, doesn't it? A way to feel connected, to avoid the uncomfortable feeling of being alone with your thoughts. I was at a coffee shop the other day. I could not help but notice everyone around me was doing the same thing. Now, I'm not throwing shade. I've done this before myself. Heads down, scrolling, typing, watching anything to avoid the silence. And then the barista called out someone's name 3 times before they finally looked up from their screen. Oh my gosh, it made me wonder, like, when did being alone become something we're so afraid of? I came across this wonderful poet the other day, and I'm just going to summarize from memory, but he says that it was something like the necessary thing is all about this: solitude, great inner solitude. Oh, but in today's world, I mean, we seem to be doing everything we can to avoid that very thing. Now, maybe you're thinking, Chad, it's not that deep. I'm just checking my email, right? But what if our reflexive need to fill every quiet moment is actually robbing us of something precious? What if those pockets of solitude aren't empty spaces to be filled, but opportunities for something more? Today, we are going to explore how to transform those moments of being alone from something we dread into something we actually look forward to. How to turn solitude from a source of anxiety into a source of strength. Let's find out. I'm Chad Lawson, and let's calm it down in 3, 2, 1. Well, first, we have to define. Let's talk about the difference between loneliness and solitude. Big difference. They might seem like two sides of the same coin, but they're pretty quite different as far as their experiences. Loneliness is that aching feeling, right, of being disconnected. It's missing connection, right? It's the emotional equivalent of hunger, right? A signal that we need something that we're not getting. Now, solitude, on the other hand, solitude is a choice. It's creating space for yourself and stepping back from the noise of the world to hear your own thoughts. Think of it like the difference between being stuck in a quiet room versus choosing to be in a peaceful garden. Same silence, just completely different experience. Now, the interesting thing is, learning to be comfortable in solitude can actually help combat loneliness. I know it sounds awkward, just stick with me. When you develop a friendly relationship with yourself, you carry that sense of companionship wherever you go. You become, as the saying goes, alone, but not lonely. So here's the challenge. We live in a world that's almost allergic to silence. From the moment we wake up to the moment we go to bed, we are bombarded with notifications and updates and endless streams of content. It's like we're afraid of what might happen if we stop. I had someone write to me the other day, the moment when I'm alone with my thoughts, they start racing. It feels overwhelming. Ugh, I get it. I hear you completely. Thank you for saying that. When you're not used to silence, it can feel like turning up the volume on every worry and concern that you've been trying to avoid. But what if we could change our relationship with those quiet moments? I mean, what if instead of seeing them as something we endure, we could view them as growth? Here's something I want you to try. The next time you find yourself alone, maybe you're taking a walk or you're washing dishes or just sitting in your car, resist the urge to reach for your phone. I know. Try this. Instead, take 3 deep breaths. Just 3. Notice how your body feels. Notice the thoughts that come up. Don't judge them. Don't try to change them. Just notice them. It might feel uncomfortable at first, and that's okay. That's actually quite normal. But think of it like exercising a muscle that you haven't used in a while. I personally, when I teach this, I call it the attention muscle. But this discomfort, guess what? It's a sign of growth. So let me share with you a practical way to start building this attention muscle, this solitude strength. So start small. You don't need to go on a silent retreat or meditate for hours, but begin with just 5 minutes. Put a timer if you need to, but use this time to just be with yourself. Maybe write in a journal or simply just watch the clouds pass. The activity doesn't really matter as much as the intention behind it. And then second, create a ritual. Create a solitude ritual. Maybe it's having your morning coffee before anyone else is awake, or taking that walk by yourself after dinner. Having a specific time and place for solitude can make it feel less overwhelming and more natural. And then third, practice active solitude. What? You want me to be alone intentionally on purpose? Well, instead of trying to empty your mind, engage with yourself. Ask yourself questions. What made me smile today? What am I looking forward to? What's something I'm curious about? Treat yourself like someone you're getting to know, because in many ways, you are. You're asking yourself questions you may have never asked before. And here's something fascinating. There are studies that have shown that people who are comfortable with solitude, they tend to be more creative, more emotionally resilient, and better at problem solving. It makes sense when you think about it. I mean, when we are constantly consuming other people's thoughts and ideas, we leave little room for our own ideas to emerge. Think about some of the most creative people throughout history: artists, writers, musicians, inventors. So many of them speak about the importance of solitude in their creative process. Because it's in those quiet moments that inspiration often strikes, that new ideas have space to form. Me personally, just speaking as a pianist and composer, solitude is where all the ideas come. And when I record albums, it's usually completely alone because I have the freedom of seeing where things go. But when I'm surrounded by people and the red light is on, I'm constantly wondering, what are they thinking? And that's the least creative environment you want to be in. But beyond creativity, solitude offers something even more valuable: the chance to really know yourself. In a world that is constantly telling us who we should be, these moments of quiet reflection, they allow us to actually find out who we are. When I first started taking piano lessons and practicing piano really seriously, really committing to it, the hours alone with the instrument, they weren't always easy. I'm going to be honest. A lot of my friends were outside playing, they were doing activities, and especially when it came to college, everyone was out having fun, and I was in the practice rooms. Sometimes it felt really lonely and frustrating and endless, but over time, those practice sessions, they became sacred. They became moments of discovery and just connection, not just with the music, but with myself. And that's the real gift of solitude. It allows us to develop a relationship with ourselves that is completely independent by any external validation or distraction. It's like building an internal home that you can return to whenever you need to recenter yourself. So here's what I want you to try this week. Pick one activity that you normally do while multitasking or scrolling through your phone. Maybe it's eating breakfast or waiting for your coffee to brew or even just brushing your teeth. Choose to do that activity with no phone, no TV, no distractions, just you and the moment. And then notice what comes up. Are you anxious? Are you bored? Are you uncomfortable? That's all really important information. So write it down if you can. Because when we begin to observe these clues, we begin to understand the relationship that we have with solitude. But the key thing is, and I want you to remember, the goal is not to love every moment of being alone. That is not the purpose of this. The goal is to completely be comfortable enough with being alone that it becomes a tool rather than a source of anxiety. Where you reach for a place that you can say, I'm just enjoying my own company right now. What a beautiful moment, let's be honest. But I want to leave you with this thought. Your relationship with solitude is a reflection of your relationship with yourself. Oh, I'm going to say that one again. And yes, I realize it's heavy. Your relationship with solitude is a reflection of your relationship with yourself. When you learn to be at peace in those quiet moments, you are learning to be at peace with who you are. So the next time you find yourself alone, before you reach for your phone, try reaching inward instead. You might be surprised by what you find there, because I guarantee you, you're going to find strength. You're going to find creativity. You're going to find wisdom. And maybe even a friend you didn't know you had. Yourself. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for living. And I want you to remember, solitude isn't the absence of connection. It's a different kind of connection altogether. So be kind to your mind, because this connection is one that just might change your life. Until next time, be kind to your mind and join me again as we calm it down. To find more episodes of Calm It Down, see where I may be appearing in your area, or just simply want to know where to send me some chocolate chip cookies, visit calmitdownpodcast.com. This podcast was written and produced by yours truly, Chad Lawson, composer, pianist, and nationally recognized Sweet Tooth. The views, expressions, and techniques in this episode are of my personal opinion and not intended, nor should they, serve as a substitute for medical advice or diagnosis rendered to you by your individual doctor or other healthcare provider. Only a licensed physician should evaluate your situation, provide a diagnosis, or render other medical advice to you, and you should only act upon the advice of this physician. Now, I'm an extreme empath by nature, but my profession is that of a composer and pianist, not a licensed therapist or physician. I hear from thousands of listeners how my music has helped them through various stages of emotional needs, and I simply want to offer this in future podcast episodes to aid those needs. So to find a list of licensed professionals in your area, please visit calmitdownpodcast.com. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review, or better yet, share it with a friend. While it takes less than 60 seconds to do, its impact will last for years to come, as every little bit helps in growing the awareness and the importance of mental and emotional health. Thank you for listening. Thank you for living. And until next time, be kind to your mind and join me again as we calm it down.